Hello, this is Brother Kumar from the Math Department. This video is to show you how to get into SAS. And so there's two things you need. One is to log into the SAS account online, and then the other one is to open up a program in SAS. So first of all, you need to get onto this website up here at the very top. It's support.sas.com/ctsx3/sodareg, sodareg/index.html. And so then what you do is you type in your email address that you logged into, that you used to log into this account or to set up your account. And then you type in your password, whatever that is. Okay. Click on enter, and then what will pop up? Your account. It'll pop up here in just a sec. It says here waiting for support.sas.com. And now I have 3 courses, but you'll just have one, Math 326, that starts in August, ends in December. I registered in August. Yours will probably be somewhere in some other dates. But anyways, the reason why I showed this to you is that this is your SAS User ID. Okay, and you're going to need this to get on to your software. What I'm going to do now is that I opened this up earlier. I'm going to open it up again. And what you can do is that I have it marked here because I've used it before recently, so I can open this up. But if you don't know where it's located, you can search for it here. Let me just try that again, SAS, and there it is. And then if you click on that, then it'll open up. Yours will probably be 6.1 minus 4.3. But then what you do is when you get into it, you'll have this box. You need to log into here, or else you will not be able to have access to the cloud, or the SAS cloud, or the server that SAS uses, that I store all the SAS data files, or any type of files. So how you get that is that you have to go back to your account, and this is your user ID. You type in your user ID, and then you type in the same password that you got into your account, and then what will happen is that you should be able to get into SAS. Okay, and if you see this box here, it says that you got into SAS. Now here on campus, you should be able to get on using your laptops, but maybe at home it may or may not. It just depends on if the ports logging in are blocked or not. Now here on campus, they're no longer blocked, so you can get on here on campus. Okay, so I'm going to do a new SAS program here, so you'll have a blank screen. And what you need to do is that you need to go to your page here for the Quiz 1D page that has the SAS tutorial, and you need to open it up. When you open it up, you will get this file right here. Okay, and it has an example of how to do a one sample t-test with doing a QQ plot and a histogram. And then down here it's something similar. You're doing a paired sample t-test where you do the t-test in 2 different ways, and then you can do a QQ plot and a histogram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this information here, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it into this file, into SAS here. Now I'm going to just go through one by one what each of these commands represent. Live name is the first command, and you need this because if you don't have live name, you really can't run any data sets, because you're going to be pulling data from the SAS server. Now I called it my data, but you can call it whatever you want to. But after that, this is always going to be the same when you read it in, because this is telling SAS, go to this part of the server to grab this data. And you're going to only do a read-only, access read-only, and then you do a semicolon. In SAS, you always end a line of code with a semicolon. That's just how SAS runs, for better or for worse. Now, I put in a couple of comments. Note you need you need this first up above encoding to get access to the data in the SAS library that I added. And then down below is a one sample t-test. Now if you start a line with a slash and an asterisk, and end with an asterisk and a slash, basically what you're doing is you're commenting this line. And what that means is that I'm making a note to myself what's going on, but I don't want SAS to go and run this line of code here. I just want to make it as a point of reference for me. That's all I need to do for that here. Now with this next one, I'm just creating a title. I'm just calling it title. And then in single quotes, I just call it one sample t-test for runner's weight and end with a semicolon. Then I'm doing 3 different types of procedures. One's called the procedure t-test, or Proc T-Test, and then the last 2 are the Proc Univariate. Proc T-Test, I'm going to set data equal to this, saying I'm calling the data from the SAS server from my data dot runner weight. So it's the runner weight data that we're pulling. Okay, and then we're setting alpha equal to 0.05. That's going to be our level of significance, and then our null hypothesis is HO is equal to 50, or H0 is equal to 59.5. And then we end up with a semicolon. We're going to pull in the variable. We need to ask for which variable we want, so it'll be variable weight, and then we're going to run it. Okay. Then the next thing, excuse me, we're going to do the what's called Proc Univariate, and we're going to pull the data set again, the runner weight data, and then we're going to ask to do a Q plot of the weight variable, and then we're going to run it. And then with Proc Univariate, we're going to use that again, but then we have to use, and we want to pull in the variable weight, and now we're going to create a histogram of the weight variable, and we're going to sketch a normal distribution curve. You also need to include these options up here on this line so that you can sketch a normal distribution curve and do a plot. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to run this. You just click on run to run this data, and then what should happen is that output should pop up here in just a moment. And if you look on the bottom left, it says it's connecting to the SAS server. And now it's running. Okay, program running. And so in just a moment, you're going to see some output. Okay. Now right now, this tab here is the program tab. In just a moment, we're going to see another tab. Okay, that's going to show us our output. And it's still running down here. So in just a moment, we will see our output. And there it is. And so now we have a program tab, a log tab that shows us. And we might need to use that tab if we find any errors in our code, and then the results. And so here are the results. Here's our test statistic, degrees of freedom, and our p-value here, and that's what we primarily need. Here is also our confidence interval when we are interested in a confidence interval for a 95% confidence interval. Okay, this is the numbers that we're looking for, not these numbers, but these numbers right here. Then going further down, here's our QQ plot, and then we go even further down. Then we have a histogram with the normal distribution curve sketched. Okay, and that's what we were looking for that. Now the next item that we need to do is that I want to pull up, let's see if I can pull this up here, I need to pull this down, is that I'm going to pull up now that I'm going to do a paired sample T-test. Okay, so I'm going to grab this data, or not this data, but this code, and I'm going to pop it into SAS. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my program, and I'm going to keep this first line there because I still need that line. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to paste some new code here. Now basically what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to do also a Proc T-Test as well as Univariate like I did last time. But when you're doing a paired test with a Proc T-Test, you have to call in the two variables. And you call it paired, and it's fathers, sons. So this is one way to do a paired T-test. But then there's another way where we do is if we create a new data set, we call it data difference. I'm going to call it whatever we want to. Then I set the data set, the father-son's data, okay, and we're grabbing it from this library. And then I'm going to grab this data and I'm going to create a new variable name called diff, which is equal to fathers minus sons. And then when I'm done, I want to keep these variables, father, son, and difference. And then I'm going to run it. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a Proc T-test. I'm going to, instead of grabbing the father-son's data, I'm going to grab the difference data that I just created and then use the variable difference. And then I'm going to run that. I'm going to do the same thing with the QQ plot. I'm going to use the difference variable as well as the histogram. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this. Okay. Yes, I want to run it. I want to run it using a new code. Okay. And so I just want to check my time here. And then out should pop up some new output from SAS. It looks like it's running pretty good, so it looks like we're in a pretty good spot here. Okay. So, still running. Takes a little bit of time to run this because it's going to a SAS server out probably in North Carolina. But anyways, here's our output. Okay. For the T-test procedure, when we're doing a paired sample T-test, notice here we have our degrees of freedom 12, test statistic p-value. This is when we just did the first. This is where we did the first method where we put in. I just need to find it here where we're using this method right here, and then this next output. The next output, if I can find the output here, is over this part right here where we created the difference variable. And then if we go further down, then we'll have here's a QQ plot of the differences as well as the histogram of the differences. So that concludes the video dealing with SAS with one sample T, match pairs, and introducing how to get into SAS.